up on Grady Newsource at 5, Election Day results are in. Find out what this means for your county. The Atlanta Braves are the world champions for the first time in 26 years. See how local fans are reacting? And the CDC has approved the Pfizer COVID vaccine for children aged 5 to 11. All this and more coming up on Grady Newsource.
This is Northeast Georgia's only local source for TV news. From the Grady College at the University of Georgia, this is Grady Newsource.
Good evening. I'm Alexis Elmore. Thank you for joining us for Grady Newsource. Results are in from the elections in Northeast Georgia. We have team coverage on all the outcomes in the counties surrounding Athens. Grady Newsource reporters will give you a deeper look at what this means for education, transportation, and local government. First, let's go live to Tyler Johnson for an update on the results. Hi, Tyler.
Hey, Alexis. We are currently following the election results closely. Let's start in Athens, Clarke County, where residents voted in favor of the East Block for the 6th straight time, with 4,941 people voting in favor of it and 1,209 people voting actually against it. Now, in Jackson County, Kirk Ward defeated Hardy Johnston for mayor of Brazelton. In Hodgson, Lauren O'Leary won the mayoral vote over the incumbent Shannon Shell, with Leary pulling in 323 votes and Sell having 221 votes. Now, there is only a difference of 102 votes in that race. And in Oconee County, Brian Broderick keeps his seat as mayor of Watkinsville after defeating candidate Rebecca Billings, and against the residents voted against the T-Splosh vote for a margin of only 180 votes. Now, in Madison County, the T-Splosh vote passed by a vote of 1,421 votes to actually 761 votes. Jimmy Yarborough was elected mayor of Commer over Jory Wilborn. And in Barrow County, Taylor Siss defeated incumbent Bill Ackworth for a seat in the Auburn City Council, and the new T-Splosh vote was also passed. This is Tyler Johnson with Grady Newsource.
Athens Clarke County voters said yes to the East Block vote on Tuesday. Grady Newsource's Davis Baker tells us what the implications are of the tax passing.
The Education Special Purpose Local Option Sales Tax, or eSPLOST, a 1% sales tax increase that goes towards funding school projects, passed resoundingly yesterday in Athens Clarke County. There were nearly 5,000 yes votes, significantly outweighing the 1,209 no votes. The SPLOST manager for the Clarke County School District says he's pleased with the outcome.
For my part, it's kind of a justification, or that people appreciate what we do and they realize we're doing good work. I know the district doesn't always get a lot of positive press, but this is something to be proud of.
The biggest project that will be done with the eSPLOST 6 money is a new building for Clarke Middle School. As you can see behind me, the current Clarke Middle School is over 50 years old, and classroom sizes are about 30% under the Department of Education standard. The plan is in development and will take about 2 years to complete. Parents like Sarah Ruppersberg voted yes to eSPLOST because of the future impact on her elementary-age kids.
Funding directly will impact them, because by the time everything comes into, the funding comes through and the project moves forward, my kids will probably be in middle school.
Gilbreth estimates the eSPLOST 6 money will start being collected in July or August, and the Clarke Middle project will take about 2 years to complete. Reporting for Grady Newsource, I'm Davis Baker.
Oconee County voters rejected the proposed transportation sales tax. Here is Grady Newsource's reporter Sam Perez with how this will impact the county.
Unofficial election results are in for Oconee County, and residents have voted no to the Transportation Local Option Sales Tax, or T-Splost. The T-Splost is a sales tax of up to 1% used exclusively for funding transportation purposes. The tax would have been allocated to help with 4 specific categories the county had determined, like roads, bridges, public transit, transportation infrastructure, and more. Now, without that extra funding, County Administrator Justin Kerouac says transportation improvements will still happen, although they won't be on as big of a scale as the commission had hoped.
Well, it's not going to change anything from how we've done in the past. What it won't let us do is accelerate any of the paving. So we'll continue to lay out, we'll take the results, we'll lay out the road prioritization and get those approved. It'll just be a question of funding.
Residents like Bo Charles, who voted no to the tax, are happy with the results. Charles says taxpayers work hard for their money, and he doesn't want to give up as much to the government.
we can't just magically get an extra 1% or 5% or 10% more income. We have to manage the money that we have and that we make. And I think the government needs to do a much better job of that.
Without funding from the T-SPLOST, the county will have to find a different way to fund transportation projects like more roundabouts and sidewalk paths. For Grady Newsource, I'm Sam Perez.
Grady Newsource reporter Allison Casso gives an update on what the election results in Bartow County mean for the residents.
Here at the Barrow County Elections Office, where last night the SPLOST, a 1% sales tax, was renewed for 6 years after the current tax expires in 2023. Ticket projects the tax will fund is an expansion of the Jail and Justice Center, EMS technology updates, and an expansion in the Victor Lord Park.
Statham will see 3 new councilmen, and Mayor Joe Piper says he is excited to get to work on the city water plans and improving roads in the upcoming term.
The infrastructure turned around and corrected first, and then you can get all the beautification and all the whistles and bells after. But healthy discussion and what is right for the city, that's all I can ask.
In Winder, Ward 3 incumbent Jimmy Terrell was a large critic of city spending in his first term and voted against the increased millage rate and the proposed 2022 budget. He won in a landslide at over 74% of the vote, and he will continue to fight for spending reform.
For Grady Newsource, I'm Allison Casso.
Jackson County had multiple mayoral races, but 2 stood out with their small town focus. Grady Newsource reporter Savannah Ware has more.
The Jackson County mayoral election winners had one particular thing in common. They both promised to keep their towns friendly to families and to control the growth of the cities. Kurt Ward beat Hardy Johnson for the seat as mayor of Braselton. Ward ran his campaign on promises of a sustainable economy and infrastructure for the town. He argued that Braselton can go one of 2 directions in the future because of its proximity to I-85, a destination or a bypass. He says that he is prepared to make long-term plans for the town because of his experience as a transportation specialist and as an attorney. He wants to focus on planned growth in Braselton. In Hoschton, Lauren O'Leary beat out incumbent candidate Shannon Sell for mayor. Leary has 4 major goals for serving as mayor. She wants to reinstate the Planning and Zoning Committee and wants to manage growth. She believes the infrastructure of the town is not prepared for all the rezoning plans of changing land from agricultural use to residential. She says that her background in management, logistics, and business will help her reroute growth and protect the town from these plans. She also ran her campaign on holding developers accountable and being a transparent mayor. She wants to remain in the loop of what citizens want. Jennifer Logan is the elections director for Jackson County. She said these mayoral elections were unique from the county's recent history.
The turnout was better than expected in those areas, honestly, because normally city elections we don't really have a really good turnout, and we had pretty good turnout, so that was surprising.
Both towns voted for mayors who promised to focus on keeping Hoschton and Braselton family-friendly. For Grady Newsource, this is Savannah Ware.
There were 3 big races in Madison County this election cycle. Grady Newsource reporter Megan Middlehammer tells us about the implications of one vote.
Madison County voted to pass a transportation sales tax. The tax's main function? Fixing county roads.
But 90% of the time, people complain about roads. Road. Fix my road, fix my potholes. And that's the majority of the phone calls I get. And now we can say no problem.
Higdon posted on Facebook in October to let voters know where the money would go. The county has 568 miles of roads total, and the estimated cost for this project, $450,000 to $500,000 per mile. According to the Georgia Department of Transportation, the price of asphalt is currently $519 per ton. A typical road takes 1,188 tons, but these rural roads may take less. Madison County is working to maintain both dirt and paved roads, plus resurfacing and filling potholes. $13 million will be allocated to road paving and resurfacing over a 5-year period. Despite the vote's success, only about 10% of registered voters voted in the T-SPLOST question.
I'm proud that it passed, but in the same sense, I'm discouraged that people didn't turn out more.
Madison County is trying to pave more roads to attract businesses and grow their community. For Grady Newsource, I'm Megan Middlehammer.
Last night, the Atlanta Braves defeated the Astros in the World Series 3-2, and the entire state of Georgia is celebrating appropriately. Up next, hear how fans' reactions about the game and in Athens and on the UGA baseball team.
There is a road laid out for me, leading down to
boxes everywhere, and this is gonna be Addie's room.
I am blind, but I need not see.
I think you're really gonna like it.
I know this road is there for me. There is a love waiting for me.
First night here, but Amy seems cool.
Waist down by the river. I am blind, but I need not see. I know this love is there for me.
Nice and slow.
I got this.
Take me down to the river and wash me.
Okay. What do you think?
What if you could feel in control of your retirement in just a few clicks? At aceyourretirement.org, you can. Start with a free 3-minute chat with Avo, your friendly digital retirement coach. Just answer some simple questions like, how do you feel about your ability to save for retirement? Or in how many years do you want to retire? To get free action items customized just for you, get your retirement back on track at aceyourretirement.org.
The Atlanta Braves beat the Houston Astros 7-0 last night to clinch their first World Series win since 1995. Grady Newsource reporter Shaylin Carroll went out into the street to speak to some UGA students about how last night's victory felt.
With the Atlanta Braves winning the World Series in Game 6 last night, fans all across Georgia are celebrating, including right here in Athens. Most UGA students weren't even alive the last time the Braves won the World Series in 1995.
I was kind of bummed. I didn't know how to feel because I've been a Georgia Bulldogs fan, Braves fan. I've never had a team win a championship, so it's just like...
I was super excited, kind of relieved at the same time. Georgia doesn't have a great history of following through, so it was nice to have a win under our belt.
I felt like a little kid. I felt like a little boy, like a little giggle. I was just like a little boy. I didn't know how else to react.
Haven't been alive for any Atlanta awesome sports moments, so it feels pretty great.
I cried when we had 2 outs, and then once Dansby Swanson made that play, it was pure joy. Screaming, lost my voice. It was amazing.
If you're a sports fan here in Georgia, you may be familiar with the so-called Georgia sports curse. There's quite a long list of disappointments across sports in Georgia, from Alabama's come-from-behind overtime win in the SEC championship in 2018 to the Atlanta Falcons blowing a 28-3 lead against the New England Patriots in Super Bowl 51. Thanks to the Braves' win last night, some fans believe that curse is broken.
I think it is, knock on wood, but we'll see January.
I think it's broken. I hope we got a bright future ahead of us.
So I think it's broken. I really do.
I don't want to say it's broken yet because we still have UGA number 1, so I'm not going to answer that yet. We'll see in January.
Shaylin Carroll, Grady Newsource.
The Atlanta Braves are able to party like it's 1995 after they beat the Houston Astros to claim their second World Series title. Grady Newsource reporter Wyman Bailey has the story about the Braves' historic win and celebrations to come.
Last night, red and blue streamers filled the air at Minute Maid Park as the Atlanta Braves hoisted up the MLB Commissioner's Trophy for winning the World Series in a dominant way with a 7-0 win. Blair hit a 3-run home run in the top of the 3rd inning, while Freddie Freeman and Dansby Swanson both added on to the scores with home runs as well. Friday, however, details about the parade have yet to be released. Celebrating their historic win last night, players and managers from UGA's very own baseball team have been very proud of what the Braves have achieved. Bryce Fowler mentions what it feels like to win a World Series and what it means for the UGA baseball team.
just unreal, like just very surreal, honestly. Like it's, at this point, you just trying to like pinch yourself because you just don't believe it actually just happened. Like, you know, obviously we're all big Braves fans, everybody that's from Georgia. So for this is our hometown team. This is
UGA coach Scott Strickland also adds on to what it
injuries, you go through adversity, and to get to the final, you know, the finality of it, to win a World Series, to win a national championship. There's just so much work that goes into it, and it's to be honest with you, when it's over with, it's just a huge relief. You know, it's just there's.
Whether a UGA baseball player, a Braves player, or a baseball fan, it seems that last night brought a lot of happiness to everyone who loves the game of baseball. Wyman Bailey, Grady Newsource.
The CDC has now officially endorsed Pfizer's pediatric vaccine. If you are looking to get your children vaccinated, Grady Newsource reporter Alyssa McDaniel has details on the CDC's recommendation.
Today, across the country, Pfizer's COVID-19 pediatric vaccines will now be available to eligible children between the ages of 5 through 11. This was made possible due to a vote for approval of the vaccine held yesterday by the Advisory Committee of the CDC, where CDC Director Rochelle P. Walensky endorsed the use of the vaccine. Dr. Walensky further says how this approval permits the recommendation for 28 million children to receive a COVID vaccine. This news follows FDA's approval of the emergency use of the Pfizer vaccine to include children just on Friday. Acting FDA Commissioner Janet Woodcock says, "Our comprehensive and rigorous evaluation of the data pertaining to the vaccine's safety and effectiveness should help assure parents and guardians that this vaccine meets our high standards." Family nurse practitioner and urgent care worker Crystal Mansfield says how she sees a mixture of hesitancy and support of pediatric vaccines with her patients.
People want their children vaccinated because they have family members that are sick, and then there's those that don't want their children vaccinated. They may be vaccinated, but they don't feel like they don't want to use their children as an experiment, and they don't feel like there's enough data.
Despite hesitancy, CDC's Dr. Walensky says that as a mother herself, she encourages parents with questions to talk to their pediatrician. This is Alyssa McDaniel with Grady Newsource.
The Biden administration is taking steps to increase the nation's supply of at-home COVID-19 tests. Grady Newsource reporter Emma Robinson explores the accessibility and accuracy of these over-the-counter test options.
A simple swab and 15 minutes is all you need to complete an at-home COVID-19 test. All done from the comfort of your home, these tests appear to be a quick and easy way to detect an infection. But are these tests too good to be true? The United States Department of Health and Human Services recently announced its plan to bring more high-quality at-home tests to the market. As a part of President Joe Biden's American Rescue Plan, the Department of Health and Human Services is investing $70 million into these efforts. Mary Barnes agrees with this initiative, as she bought an at-home COVID test to have on hand in case of exposure.
My mother's high risk and my niece is not vaccinated yet, and so I wanted to have one on hand.
The Biden administration is working to increase accessibility of at-home tests for people like Barnes, who want to have these tests as a safety net. But though convenient, are these tests truly reliable? A select few of rapid antigen tests are available in stores, including Abbott's Binax Now, Quidel's QuickView, and recently approved tests by Aiken Labs' FlowFlex. However, epidemiology professor at the University of Georgia, Mark Ebell, says that some of these at-home options raise concerns.
Patients perhaps don't get as good of a sample when they put the swab up in their nose as someone who's trained to do that.
Ebell compares self-swabbed antigen tests to RT-PCR tests, which he considers the gold standard of testing. Ebell says that though these rapid antigen options are convenient, unlike PCR tests, they may not detect an early COVID-19 infection. Ebell recommends that those who get negative test results seek out a more reliable PCR test for confirmation. I'm standing here in front of the Walgreens in Athens, where test seekers can find a dwindling selection of at-home options. They can also find a drive-through testing site administering PCR tests that yield results within 1 to 2 days. For Grady Newsource, I'm Emma Robinson.
Coming up, we have a look at your 5-day forecast, details on our particularly chilly week ahead, and today's Fall Severe Weather Preparedness Day.
During high school, I hung with the wrong crowd and I never graduated.
I helped Santiago in many different ways, like all fathers do, because he always wanted to go to college.
I felt a little embarrassed to come back to school, but eventually, once I came here, I knew that it's for a bigger goal.
He was very dedicated, hardworking. He connected with his teachers, he connected with other students. That was one of the key reasons why he was able to keep forging ahead.
It was amazing to see him graduate. This was one thing that meant so much to him, and of course, it meant so much to us too.
With the help of my father and having my son, that was all the motivation that I needed. That support is everything.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible. She must be a keeper.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
And now, the weather.
Good evening, I'm Sam Perez with your Northeast Georgia weather. Now, let's start out with a look at tonight's forecast. You can expect a 30% chance of rain, but don't worry, that'll only start kicking in around 2 a.m. Now, looking ahead at the week, you better grab your jackets and prepare to bundle up because it sure is going to be cold. On Thursday, we'll be seeing a 40% chance of rain in the morning, so be sure to break out that umbrella just in case. On Friday, you can expect it to warm up just a little bit with partly sunny skies and a bit warmer weather before we finish out strong with a sunny weekend. The temperatures this weekend are lower than normal for this time of year, but something that is common for the season is a lot of heavy thunderstorms and tornadoes. So the Georgia Emergency Management and Homeland Security Agency has paired up with the National Weather Service to declare today Georgia's Fall Severe Weather Preparedness Day. Today, people were encouraged to practice a severe weather exercise and tornado drill. If you missed the drill, no worries. Visit gma.georgia.gov to learn more about how to prepare yourself. That's a look at weather. I'm Sam Perez.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move. So I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies. Selfies, nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's put a ride home.
How prepared is your family if a tornado shows up at your doorstep, or a flood, or a hurricane? You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan now. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking,
Let's go.
you'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza. Yes.
Make a plan today.
Regardless of where you are on your path to retirement, you can still take charge of your financial future today. Visit aceyourretirement.org and answer a few questions from Avo, your friendly digital retirement coach, for free tips, resources, and advice customized for your situation to help you feel confident and prepared for retirement. Retirement looks different for everyone. Make sure you're prepared for your financial future at aceyourretirement.org.
And now, sports.
I'm Kayla Robertson with your Grady Newsource Sports. It is a great week to be a Georgia sports fan, with the Braves and the Dogs bringing championships home. The Braves won the World Series last night for the first time since 1995 against the Houston Astros, making it 26 years since the Atlanta baseball team last won the series. The Braves announced shortly after their victory that a parade will be held on Friday to continue the celebration of the win. The #1 ranked Georgia Bulldogs earned the title of SEC East champions after their 34-7 win against the Florida Gators last Saturday. This win means that the Dogs will play the SEC West winner of the SEC championship game in December. This weekend, the Dogs will take on Missouri here in Athens, where they are favored by 39 points over the Tigers. In other news, members of UGA's men's and women's teams are heading over to the West Coast this week, where they will be participating in the ITA National Fall Championships in San Diego, California. On Friday, the swimming and diving team will be taking on the Auburn Tigers at Auburn, and the basketball team will play an exhibition game against Morehouse College.
Up next, Grady Newsource reporter Savannah Ware shows us how the University of Georgia is prioritizing international education this month.
I think I finally found.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Mason.
Hey, Mason.
Got a new house. It's looking pretty cool so far. A place that I call home.
I'm teaching Louise how to cook some lasagna.
It only takes a spark to make a fire start.
Thank you.
Study, please.
I think I finally found a place to make my own. A place that I call home. This place that I call home.
Celebration of International Education Month is underway after Monday's kickoff event. Grady's Newsource reporter Savannah Ware shows us how the diversity on display on University of Georgia.
The International Student Life Office kicked off International Education Month on Monday at Tate Plaza with the 7th Annual Parade of Flags and World Fest. The parade showed off the international diversity featured at the University of Georgia. Students carried flags from different countries around campus. The event ran from 11 to 11:30 a.m. and ended in Tate Plaza, where the World Fest was set up. Student organizations celebrated diversity with activities, performances, food, and music. Yua Alaye is the president of the African Student Union. She spoke on the importance of the World Fest to her organization.
This particular event is very special to us because it raises awareness for all the different cultural organizations on campus and what we bring to diversify this campus more.
The event kicked off International Education Month. The month is filled with opportunities to celebrate and learn about international and intercultural learning at UGA. Shruti Maraganadin is a communications intern for the International Student Life Office. She spoke on the events that are coming up during the rest of International Education Month.
All of our student orgs are doing different events within their kind of sphere of culture. So it's a really easy way to get involved, and World Fest is like our kickoff event.
International Education Month runs from November 1st to November 19th. International Education Week is celebrated across the country, but International Education Month is unique to UGA. The extended celebration highlights different international education programs offered by the university that aim to prepare students for a global society and to promote international learning. Other international education events this month include foreign language conversation tables, study away information sessions, global education drop-in advising sessions, international movie nights, and more. Throughout the month of November, the first 100 students to take advantage of the opportunity are eligible for free passport photos. Throughout the month, the Georgia Museum of Art will be featuring Spanish art and Japanese ceramics. There's also an interactive map and flag display in Tate Plaza. For Grady Newsource, this is Savannah Ware.
Thank you for watching Grady Newsource. I'm Alexis Elmore, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Grady Newsource is a student production of the Grady College of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of Georgia, which is solely responsible for its contents. Views expressed do not represent those of the administration nor the Board of Regents at the University System of Georgia.
Julie was always a voracious reader. She'd carry 2 novels on an airplane because she'd read one on a 3-4 hour ride. And at some point, I began to notice that she would read a page and couldn't remember what she had just read, and she'd have to go back and read it again.
I don't remember much these days after I read, but less does for me, and I love it.
We scored? Yeah, we scored. We're going to the playoffs. I can't believe I missed that. Every time I'm buzzed, I spend too much time on my phone. What? I should take your phone away. No. I'll call for a ride. Wait, why does my face look like that? I'm playing with these new face filters. Okay, you know what? Yep, that's mine. But I need that back. No. Kevin!
You know, a lot of people say, when you're going somewhere, you don't want to look back. But I beg to differ. For her to see her father celebrate his graduation, it's the best feeling in the world. I can't lie and say it was easy. But sometimes you just have to stop everything and take it in. I looked at everything in a different light. And I realized it started with me going back and getting my high school diploma.
My Shiro doesn't always wear a cape, but she always has time for a hug, a smile, for going the extra mile. My Shiro stretches every dollar, puts in long hours, puts others first. But now it's your time, Mom. When you're ready to retire, we want you to be able to enjoy it. It's time to start saving now. A free 3-minute online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to start boosting your retirement savings today. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
Okay, we have made it through yet another show, another Wednesday. First of all, just want to say it's good to be back. It's been a while since I've SP. I've missed you guys. Great show. Second of all, can we give a round of applause to Sydney Hood? This was her first time directing, and she did amazing. And third of all, there is no third of all. I have no other issues that I saw on the tech side. The mic is on. It's on. I might be holding it too close or something like that, but yeah, I didn't see any issues on our sides. Your stuff looked good, so Professor V, the floor is yours.
All right, the floor is mine, but I will actually pass on the floor to you guys because I think we're at a point where I want to hear from you, and you want to hear from each other what you learned today. All of you struggled today. I pushed you. It was such an important day with so many important stories, and I pushed all of you, and I know it wasn't easy, but you delivered, and you should all be very proud of yourselves. This was a very sophisticated show with a lot of breaking news, developing news, serious news that are not easy to do, and you all delivered, and I'm really proud of you. And I will pass on the mic first to our TV producer. So Ballard, what did you learn today, the things that you struggled with, the things you learned, and what kind of wisdom do you want to pass on to the next producer, your first time producing and a very newsy show?
Oh gosh. Thank you to all the MMJs that were very flexible with me. We had a lot of content today with the elections, and I know a lot of y'all had different stories that you wanted to do, but I really appreciate that. I sent you all over the counties, or all over Northeast Georgia, so thank you for that. One thing I guess I learned we had a lot of content, and I thought that would be a good thing, and I think it really was a good thing. However, it was tough to pick and choose what to keep in the show. So I would recommend, if we have another show like this with a lot of content, have a lot of readers and VO slots ready so you can time it better. I wish I would have had a few more of those to kind of time it a little bit better. See, I wish I've probably been more creative in the A block instead of just having all those election results. I think that's probably for next time, but this is probably good for the first time. Oh, trying to think of anything else. Communication, I guess, or clarity. Was not very clear with a lot of y'all. Clear with my vision. I think I could have definitely been better with that. I know everyone had a lot of questions. So definitely being clear of what you want, and honestly just being a boss and being bossy, I think is very important. So yeah, that's something definitely for next time. Definitely be more clear with people. Like, Kayla, I'm sorry, I kept flip-flopping back and forth on your script. I didn't know what I wanted to do yet, so I apologize for that. And Sam P, I'm sorry for sending you all over for doing weather and all that, so thank you so much for that. Other than that, I really appreciate it. Y'all gave me incredible content. I'm sorry I couldn't run a lot of y'all's packages. I know a lot of them are really good content, and hopefully we can run them in the next show. So thank y'all, and I think it went pretty well.
Hi, everyone. You guys did a great job today. This was a great show. Everybody did a great job getting the content to me on time, so I had enough time to go through and post everything. Okay. So I would say that in the morning it is definitely kind of slow for me, and then when everybody gets their packages done, it's like, okay, everybody has everything, and now I'm like, well, now I have to organize everything and get it all together so I can go ahead and post it. So that was the biggest challenge for me today. It was kind of like a hurry up and wait situation. And another challenge I would say was creating the digital article that I have right now ready with the election results. But as long as you stay organized, digital producing will be pretty good. It was pretty good for you, pretty good for me. So yes, that is it.
So I guess one thing that challenged me was picturing how I was going to do the story, because I woke up and think I was doing it, and then I'm like, oh crap, I don't have any content. But I thankfully have very good friends and good people who went to the games and went to celebrate. So I just had to send a million text messages this morning and say, hey, do you take any videos? So I was able to get that. With what you mentioned with the TV, I just happened to think of well, I can't copy, or it's copyright, I can't take anything from Fox, but I do remember videoing the TV, and I'm like, oh, there's content. One of the struggles I had was just the audio. My computer literally shut down as I was exporting, and I guess it made my audio wish-washy, but I just need that's just technical glitch that I just need to keep an eye on and see what went wrong there. But other than that, I think my package went good content-wise and story-wise, and was definitely a really fun one to do.
Well, I was technically a news gatherer, but I did have a package that aired, and I think that something that I did well was I tried to be innovative and creative with my visuals, and so I had a couple of visuals where you would see the picture blur out and then words pop up on the screen in an animated way, and so that was a first time of me trying to just bring to life a little bit more creativity. Something that I could do better, I guess, just having more visuals stocked in a folder for me to be able to grab. Yes, if had the picture correct, right.
Today was it was kind of like a struggle day. I actually like had an interview at 10 a.m. and I was like, oh, I'm doing well. I'm gonna be fine. And then at first I thought my second source was gonna get cold feet, but then it ended up going through. But the problem with mine was that like when I put my audio into Premiere today, it sounded like I was on a phone call. Like it was really scratchy, and it was like 4:30, and I was like, I don't know what to do. So I don't know if I have to email Professor Shumway or what, but I got to get that fixed because I don't know what that's about. It's not the actual audio because it sounds fine on my phone. I put it on this Premiere, it sounded fine. So I got to get that fixed, and then you thought so? It sounded like it didn't sound clear to me, but it sounded like I was on a phone call. No, yeah, I definitely will. As far as stuff I learned, is that like kind of just investing in your beat. Like this is now like the third time that I've like covered some sort of election story, and I'm like talking to more people, learning more things. So I felt like actually like well vested in the story. So that's why I might go in and redo it because I feel like this actually was a decent package for me, but it was just frustrating that the audio was so not clear.
Hello. One thing I think I did good, I did a stand-up finally. Oh, struggled with. Well, I always struggle with being short and concise, like every time. So I need to be better about timing my packages because sometimes like I put them in once I finish like my first cut of editing, it's like almost 3 minutes and I'm like, yikes. So I need to be better about that. But yeah, and the one thing I think I did good was I used a stand up this time. I've only done a stand up for one other package, but I ended up cutting it. So I'm happy that I finally got to use it in this one. So yeah.
Yeah. So I did I definitely struggled with sourcing today. I'm not on the Jackson County beat. I wasn't in the Facebook groups or anything, but I went out of my way to find people. I'm getting Facebook comments rolling in now after the show of people who are willing to talk to me, but just being bold and calling elections offices and kind of asking for another person if they didn't want to talk and asking and asking and asking. And I didn't end up getting a picture of my source, so I wasn't super happy about the visual element that went with it. And the quote definitely could have been better, but all things considered, I think I learned a lot today about finding sources last minute.
So something that I can work on was jumping ahead of this. I was focused on the District 3 commission race, but then realized like T-Sploss was more impactful. And so I think I got a good quote from the commissioner. So in the future, just making sure I know everything about the issue and not focusing on one thing, but keeping like an open mind so that if the angle changes, I am ready and prepared.
My first smart board, but one thing I really want to work on is kind of like working through the script. I feel like I was stumbling like on my words and stuff, and I did that as well when I was an anchor, so I really want to work on that. And also keeping like a suit in the car because Ballard called me. He was like, yeah, I really want you to be on the smart board, but I was like halfway to school, so I had to turn around and like change clothes, but you know, it worked out. It worked out.
And I wanted to give you a little bit of advice, like I tell people, the weather, or I like the fact that you were doing that. Glanced at it. Look at that smartboard. You yourself will figure out that you naturally looked back at the board without turning your back to us. But when you did that, at certain points when you could have looked at it. Reference certain, when you wanted to make like a coney with the T-Sploss, you could have sort of looked and sort of emphasized a little bit more. But these are things, this is your first time, so I think it's helpful to all people. That's why I'm sharing this with you. And then at the end, always toss back to the anchor. That interaction is really important. You sigged out like a package, which is okay, I'm Tyler, but you could have tossed back to Lexi, and so Lexi back to you, and Lexi says thank you. So those are just very little things. I thought you were credible, you were comfortable, and these are just a few things to keep all of you working on. Your favorite smart board, everybody loves that smart board. But but it was a good way to start. Lexi, you're very comfortable in front of the camera. Have you anchored before? Yeah, I did not see the nervousness you were sharing with me before that. And there's just one thing that's really important for all of you anchoring to remember. Do not show that a script is not written well on camera. And you should have checked your scripts. You showed, look at it again, but this was a flawless presentation. And that thing, if it goes on your portfolio, don't, edit that out because it's not professional. But otherwise, you were flawless. And look at the difference. The pre-show tease, you have your hands under the desk. Please don't put your hands under the desk, all of you. I'm saying this not to pick on you because I saw a lot of you, and I keep forgetting to tell you don't put your hands under the desk. So look at the difference when I told her during the show, keep your hands on the desk. And it wasn't easy for her because she told me she's tall. And they told her, to kind of lower her chair. So she was really low. And it was natural for her to keep her hands well hidden from public view. So I asked her to put her hands on the desk and see the difference. I hope I'm not wrong, but I think I'm right. And more comfortable because you can emphasize something, and you gestured with your hands, and you were very comfortable. And you too. Both of you were nervous, and I tried to make you even more nervous. But so that would be and I'm sharing this not to pick on you because all of you need to hear that. And yes, but I said I didn't talk, and I'm talking.
I was the sports anchor today, so I guess one thing that I learned was I kind of had this idea of what I wanted to do for my sports segment, and it didn't really work out, which is totally fine. That's just how the show was stacked. But just like being flexible, because I got here at like 1 o'clock, and we're supposed to film around 2, and I kind of had to rearrange my script and figure out what else to say and make new graphics. So just being flexible and ready to kind of just like jump on whatever the producer has for me. So. Right. So right. I had a separate discussion with Ballard, and that's where the confusion was because originally I was going to do like a short 1 minute and tease to Shaylin, and then Shaylin would do her package. That was not what y'all had communicated, so there was a little bit of miscommunication, but it when I got here, everything worked out. So, I mean, it's totally fine. It was not a big deal at all, but just, again, being flexible and... Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
We're in the communications business. We don't communicate well, so communication, as Ballard said, is really important. So feel comfortable next time to tell me that you had a different discussion, that you're confused about it, and instead of me thinking I passed on that and you understood from my comment. Okay, that's okay. Yes, we are in the communications business, but Sam, thank you so much. Double duty, excellent weather with the smart board and everything, and you delivered another great package, political. I'm glad pushing. You were not comfortable with politics, and Davis too, and what shared, and if you could share some wisdom that you learned tackling something that you're not comfortable, like he's discovering, he's becoming more comfortable with the subject because he's developing these contacts. And that is very valuable advice to share. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think for something that I did, or that I kind of like learned with on my package, is just the importance of being persistent, because trying to get a quote from the county administrator, it was just a busy day for everyone, but I called like twice and I emailed, and it ended up working out, which I think was great. As far as that goes with like the political story and kind of going out of my comfort zone, I think kind of like Davis said, it gets easier when you start to build the sources. So like that was the third one that I'd done. And I think approaching it, like being aware that you're uncomfortable with it, is good. And like you want to go into your interviews like prepared and knowing what questions to ask, but also, I mean, they're people. So if you don't understand something, you can ask them to explain it to you. And I think that was super helpful for me, because it is something that I'm unfamiliar with. So just asking like the mayoral candidates to explain something, I thought helped me understand it better and then deliver it better. And then as far as the weather, I definitely think I should work on hand placement. I think I gestured too many times, and it's just because I didn't know what to do with my hands. So working on that.
My package was so much fun to do. Something that I wish I would have done a little bit differently. I originally was thinking of bringing my camera with me out last night to get videos, and I'm glad I didn't. But so I recorded on my phone, and I was proud of like how the video was pretty stable for being, on my phone and held by hand. But I think somewhere along the way when I was like moving the videos I had never recorded anything for Newsource on my phone before. So at some point, like getting it off my phone and onto my computer and into Premiere, it wasn't as high of quality as I am used to. And I didn't notice it until after I had like exported and it was on a bigger screen, because I was only looking at it in the tiny windows. If I'm ever using any camera other than my own that I'm really familiar with and I know how it works, I'm definitely going to look at everything in a bigger screen before I like turn in the final product. So.
Anybody else wants to share what they learned from today? And Sam, do you have anything you want to share? No? Okay. Anybody else? Michelle, do you have anything you want to share? Allison, you did a lot of work today.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, I would just say like what Kayla said too, just about like being flexible and like going with the flow. And Sam, what you said too about being persistent, because I called like a lot of like mayor's offices and just like trying to get someone to talk to me, and then finally someone did, and he talked to me for like 20 minutes, so that was really nice. So yeah. So yeah, I think, and then I overall just like getting faster at editing. I think that's like always going to be my thing, because I just feel like I'm very slow at it. So.
All right. Would you like Lexi to share with us something you learned today?
I had a great time anchoring, such a great thing. Ballard was great. He communicated with me really well and let me know what was going on in there, because I was flustered. I apologize to Savannah for messing up the lead on that, but other than that, I just learned that you just literally slow down, take your time, and enjoy the ride, because it was pretty fun.
All right. And Tyler, do you want to add anything to? Okay. Okay. Think what?
I think that if we do another like Q&A or somebody's in the studio, make sure we always like say hi or bye to them, because it wasn't written in the script, but I like said it because I knew he was standing there and I knew that there was no introduction, but there wasn't a goodbye, so we didn't say goodbye to each other. But yeah, we should start doing that.
Totally ignored each other. But there was one good thing, as remembered, not to look at each other, because you kept looking at the camera, which creates the effect that you're looking at Lexi. So that was good that you stuck with that, because it's very natural to kind of feel like, Lexi is there, so I'm going to look away from the camera and look at her. And you guys remember not to do this. Yeah, so Ballard, any other final thoughts about doing an election show and how, or something, an event that, you have time to think about, it's happening, and to prepare and get things. Now that you've done producing, how differently would you approach an election show like this?
Yeah, I mean, the whip around was my idea to begin with. That's why I reached out to everyone yesterday to kind of get that going. But I don't think we had the technology here to do 5 different cameras. Yeah, checking with tech would have been it. Trying to think what else. I mean, I thought we did a pretty. Oh, we can do a quad? Okay. Okay, so I should have tech to make sure we could have done it. But I think that would have looked really good. In terms of just kind of going over the results, I feel like we did a pretty good job. I don't know if there's anything you could add, but I feel like we kind of went over the nuts and bolts of the most important things. And I think that was probably the hardest part, is figuring out what exactly you want to keep in and what you want to leave out. A lot of the stuff was just like council members, not huge elections. But I think leaving the T-Sploss and the E-Sploss in was good. I'm trying to think of anything else. Maybe interviewing some of the people elected, I guess, just straight from the. We could have done the Athens politics nerd. I forget his name. Okay. Yeah, I'm sure it would be pretty easy to track someone down. Yeah.
Did a great job, and you should be proud of yourselves. It was a fun show in a way with the Braves, and important show with the elections, and we localized them. And so think about one final thought from me. Think about the mini lecture on sequencing, the things we talked about and I showed you, and what you still have to put on your portfolio after listening to Laura Lynch, a news director, telling you, I want people-driven stories presented in an interesting way. So next week, we could focus, you guys could focus on looking at your portfolio. What are the little blanks you want to fill in? As we don't have that many shows left. So make sure you take this time to make sure you have some good stories that will impress a future employer, and use the things we talked about, sequencing. If there's something else I could do a mini lecture on in the remaining weeks, please let me know. I have a lot of things up my sleeve that I can quickly put together for you and show you examples, anything I can help you with as you put the finishing touches on your portfolios. You've come a long way, and so let's keep that going. Let's keep pushing forward. All right, guys, go get some rest. Well done. And thank you for rolling with the punches today.